Oh, hey, thanks for tuning into the second episode of the Wise Effects YouTube channel. Wanted to just start this video by thanking everyone very much for, first of all, tuning in to the first episode, or more importantly, leaving positive comments, sending me DMs, giving me some feedback, little things, but the positivity that I received, just the encouragement on, this project that I've decided to kind of do was incredible. I was not really expecting that too much. The internet's kind of always a weird place, especially in the trading industry, especially when you're trying something new like this. I just want to continue to spread the positivity and kind of just shed light on, some of the day-to-days of a day trader. It's not all Lambos and beach vacations and expensive jewelry and stuff like that. Sure, those can be a byproduct of successful trading, but for a lot of people, that doesn't actually define what a true trader is. In fact, it's actually more having a family, owning a home, being able to put food on the table, and being able to be present in your family. That, for me, is the true definition of wealth. And that's why, I wanted to kind of start this project to kind of just shed some light on, my life, as unexciting as it is, but to kind of create more realistic expectations in trading and in life, and just kind of spin my own kind of flavor to it. So again, just wanted to thank everyone so much for tuning in for the very first episode. And, obviously if you're watching this, the second episode, and I'm just going to keep, getting better. Again, just wanted to thank everyone so much for, the positivity, the comments, things like that, as I begin to, venture down this path. I'm glad that you've decided to join me, and, we'll continue seeing how these videos shape up, but let's dive into another week. Cheers. Oh, hey, it's Monday. Good morning. What time is it? It's blah, 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 blah. Oh, hey, it's Monday. Just finished recording the market outlook for the phantom trading community a bit later today than I normally would do it, as it's 10:45 basically by the time it actually got out, so well ahead the market opened. But in the outlook, similar to what I did last week, really focusing on higher time frame understanding of candlesticks and really understanding how daily candles make the weekly candle and the weekly candles make the monthly candle, and really just understanding how each candle prints forward. So not a big deal if it's a little bit later. My morning was a little bit different than most mornings, where my daughter was off school today. There's an eclipse later on today, and our school board decided last minute last week that they were going to cancel school or close school, whatever you want to call it. So the kids would be safe because the eclipse is happening basically when they finish school. So you'd have kids walking home from school when it's dark from the eclipse, people not paying attention on the roads, kids not paying attention because they're, looking up. So just kind of a safety hazard, which makes sense. So it's kind of a last minute decision, but not a big deal. We took my son to preschool this morning because he still had preschool, which is good. And then came home, and it was really great. Actually, was able to have breakfast, the three of us, my wife, my daughter, and myself, which is something that we don't get to do often. Because we're a family of four, it's usually the four of us. So having some little one-on-one time with our daughter, who's, at school all day now, being in JK, was just a really nice moment to have. And it really kind of reaffirmed, why you work so hard, and really just bringing an element of gratitude into, being able to work from home and having the freedom that I have being a day trader. But it's not all sunshine and roses. There was actually a GU long that I was looking at this morning when I was in my office, just wasn't quite coming to fruition. And I missed the trade, really great trade, but I'm not beating myself up about it. It doesn't even bother me, because at the end of the day, one trade, it's not going to make or break me. Sure, it's, it's annoying, frustrating, whatever, that I missed the trade when it was a textbook setup, and something that we've been talking about in the phantom trading community, all of last week, basically just kind of looking for more longs, things like that. But at the end of the day, it's one of those reflection points where my daughter is not going to be young forever. She's continuously growing up. She's 4, she turns 5 next month. And, having these little moments where we can have breakfast together and just talk and enjoy each other's company is far more important than one trade. I can always hit many trades. There are going to be thousands of trades that I can take, as time progresses, but there's only going to be, so many of those opportunities where I can have breakfast with my young daughter and really enjoy that. So it's one of those things where being able to work from home, being a day trader that has the freedom to make these choices is just such an incredible thing, and something I chose to do today. I missed a trade, but I'm not going to beat myself up for it because at the end of the day, it does not really matter. But for the rest of the day, I'm just going to monitor the charts, see what I can get, see if I can get any longs or maybe even shorts, depending what PA suggests, but obviously I prefer longs. And maybe do some testing. Gonna do some support in the Phantom trading community for anything that pops up. And then later this afternoon, gonna enjoy the eclipse with the family. And then going out for dinner for my father-in-law's birthday. We have a lot of birthdays in April. Oh hey, it's Tuesday afternoon. Just wrapping up for the day before I head out to the gym. Managed to take a pound US dollar sell on the 15-minute this morning. It's actually something that I went over in this morning's outlook for the Phantom trading community, basically discussing that if price were to approach and break the previous weekly highs, we're more than likely going to start to see sensitivity as we're taking the liquidity above the previous weekly high. And if momentum does in fact shift when we see that break of those highs, we could look for some quicker momentum plays on the short side as price pulls back. And that's essentially what I did to take that short. But let's jump back on the charts and we can go over the trade really quickly. Here we are on pound US dollar. We're on the daily chart. And as you can see, we have all of these boxes over the daily candles. These are just mapping out the weekly ranges starting from Monday to Friday, mapping out the highest highs and the lowest lows. Essentially, it's a more visual representation on the daily chart of how the weekly candles are flowing using the daily, which is a good gauge of being able to see and understand price action. This is exactly what we talked about in the Phantom Trading Outlook this morning, essentially identifying that here's the previous week's high. If we trade into it, we're more than likely going to start to see potentially sensitivity to that high, as if we're looking at it, this is going to house a lot of stop losses, orders to get people in and out of the market, depending on what direction they're looking to trade. But the bottom line is there is liquidity and there's a reason for price to want to essentially trade to these highs. And more often than not, when we see price trade to these highs, especially the fact that this is also a fractal, we're going to see sensitivity to that and potentially momentum shift to the downside. And if we do get that shift in momentum, we can look for potential shorts. And that's exactly what we did. As we can see, this is Tuesday's PA. We have Asia session here, London session here, and then we have pre-New York Open and then more New York Open. And as we can see, if we just go back to the daily really quickly, and I'm going to draw a line from this weekly high, make sure that's put on the 15-minute. Yes, it is. Great. Go down to the 15-minute. And as we can see, here is the previous high. And if we just move that back, we can see this right here. So we get the sweep of that high in London session, get a little bit of momentum coming to the downside. But as we approach New York session, we break to the upside with a great deal of momentum. So looking for shorts at this point, not great. But as we can see, once we got to about 8:30 New York Open, we blast to the upside. This is where we're starting to get more extended as the market is continuing to trade higher above the previous weekly high. And as we can see, we create this little swing high here, trade here, take out the low, we trade higher, and then we get this candle, which is an engulfing bar, and engulfs the previous bullish candle. And then we start to continue to the downside. So if we're looking at it, we can say that this is an area of demand. We get a little bit of a demand reaction. We create this high, and then we start to see some momentum coming into the market. We can say that our last point of demand begins to fail here. If I just extend out this box ever so slightly. And the idea for this trade is pretty simple. And that was as this candle closed and this next candle opened, what we've seen is this candle started to print up, printing this upper wick. And the idea of the trade was if we start to break below the low of this previous candle, chances are because we're starting to see bearish momentum in the market, we could look for shorts and just enter a market order or a sell stop. I entered market order with a stop loss just above the current candle's high with about a 1 pip buffer above that high. And as you can see, once we got tagged into the trade, it was pretty much immediate take profits. Originally on my trade assistant and the MT5 screenshot you will have seen, it would have had 4 RTP, which would have been, if I just drag this down to 4, somewhere down here. With Trade Assistant, I was previously using 4R take profit. And when I set up the trade, that's just kind of what happened. But I have been gravitating more towards 3R take profits. My win rate has increased as a result. So it's been something that I've been just kind of looking at, especially when we get these sort of trades, because if we start to look at where price is likely to gravitate towards, we can look at to the left, where is potential areas of demand, where is internal range liquidity that price would likely be starting to seek. We have something like this. So very likely we could have seen price just start to bounce off of this and maybe even take these points at a later point. But ultimately what ends up happening, price does continue down a little bit further, and now we're just starting to get that more consolidation that we'll start to see in New York afternoon. But that was the pound US dollar trade that I took here on Tuesday. Was able to secure about 3R, close this trade manually, because as I said, Trade Assistant had it set for 4R, and I was only looking for 3R out of this move, especially because of essentially this demand level here, just seeing. And then if we just kind of look, we can see that when price entered this demand, we did get quite a bit of a reaction, but ultimately the bearish momentum continued until this candle get that inside bar, a little bit of momentum, and then price is just kind of slowly moving sideways now that we're approaching the New York afternoon. But that's the trade. So yeah, that was the breakdown of the pound US dollar short. Hopefully that is clear enough in terms of why I took the trade, how I managed it, things like that. I found approaching the 3R take profits has just been a great way to really take a lot of the emotions out of the trading side of things. Not really a whole lot of management that's required. I did move to break even when we were about 1.5, 2R in profit, just to hedge my downside risk. At that point, I don't want to be taking an unnecessary loss if the market decides to totally reverse. So moved it to break even. And ultimately, great trade. It was really easy to kind of analyze, execute, and just keeping things super simple. Like I said, previous weekly high being taken out, sensitivity, we're seeing a shift on the 15-minute, and trading with the momentum on the 15-minute just to capitalize on that bearish momentum that we were seeing. But that's pretty much it for me today. I'm gonna head out to the gym, get a workout in, and then just spend the rest of the evening hanging out with the kids. That's Tuesday. Oh hey, it's Thursday afternoon. Didn't actually get a chance to record anything on Wednesday. Wednesday was a bit crazier. My son developed a little bit of a rash, so needed to be taken to the doctor. He was home all day, no preschool, all that good stuff. It actually worked out well. There was really no trades to be had. CPI was yesterday, so the market kind of just melted. It was a favorable CPI for the US dollar, and as a result, any US dollar crosses, like Euro US dollar or pound US dollar, for example, pairs that I follow, both just melted into oblivion. So it kind of changed the overall weekly kind of bias that we were initially looking at in the community. But overall, we were able to be flexible and fluid and understand what was going on the charts. So it was okay to stay out of the markets. But actually today I took a short on pound US dollar. It was a very similar trade to the one I took on Tuesday, but in this case, we didn't take out the previous week's high. We just kind of took out a previous, extreme high, London high of basically the session, traded into it, engulfing candle, traded in with the momentum, targeted 3R, hit profit target in probably about 15 minutes. Really, really great trade, minimal drawdown. And happy with the result. The market kept on dropping, and for some people, it'd be like, oh, coulda, woulda, shoulda held the trade. If I could have held the trades, I would have made more money. I should have done that. It's a very dangerous place to be in trading, where you live in that coulda, woulda, shouldas, where you could have held that trade, you could have made more money, you should have did it. One thing is it badgers your own mindset. It makes you feel negative about your trading performance, where you should be happy that you took a trade. You should be happy that you made 3R. You should be happy that you followed your plan, and that should be the main kind of reason why you're taking trades and assessing your performance. Yes, we can always make more money. Yeah, we could always hold our trades longer, but what I've found and what a lot of people have found in the past is just because you can hold trades longer in one situation doesn't mean the next one it's going to work out. Whereas if you have a solidified plan of attack and you follow through and you relentlessly execute that same strategy, that same management approach day in and day out, your expectancy for the trades and your trading process will benefit, and it'll just be an overall smoother experience. But yeah, that was the trade taken. Really happy, for the week. I'm up about 6R. Trading pound US dollar, just being super methodical on the trades. Obviously I'll put them up on the screen so you can take a look at them and just see what I'm getting myself into. But just gonna kind of wrap up, journal my trade, do some phantom support, that sort of stuff for Thursday, and just kind of wrap up for the week. As you may have noticed, I have a little fuzzy microphone on my chest now, just testing out one of the wireless lapel mics. I was using a camera mounted shotgun microphone, which was good, but it picked up, say, my computer sound and background noise, things like that. Earlier on in the week, Monday morning, for example, you'll probably have heard and noticed construction out front of my house. They were redoing the water pipe or something. They were here last year doing it. They came last year and we're working on all of our water pipes, and this year they're wrapping up the project. So needless to say, there's a massive hole in my side yard where the main water connection is, and they were digging and blocking my driveway pretty much all day. So I got to listen to the sound of excavators and dump trucks and stuff like that. And obviously you could hear that on the YouTube video, which is not the greatest, hearing that kind of hum of construction equipment. It's not great. I have to listen to it, which is why I tend to wear headphones when I'm working, things like that, just to kind of draw out the noise, allow me to focus, that sort of stuff. So when it comes to, the production quality of these videos, for example, I decided, things are going well in terms of just feeling good about, being on the camera. I said that I would invest where it made sense, and so I decided to pick up this microphone, and in hopes that the sound quality will improve and it'll just overall make the quality of these videos even better. Hopefully the content is also getting better. There's going to be a natural progression as we continue to move forward on this journey together in terms of, what sort of information, that we provide. And it's only just going to get better in terms of the content that, we put on the channel, and the discussions and the tangents and the rants and things like that I ultimately have behind the camera. But yeah, that's kind of Thursday in a nutshell. It's pretty late in the day. It's almost actually 2 p.m. Like I said, it's been a really great week, on the charts, off the charts, that sort of thing, really productive. Obviously it's been a weird week with having my kids home more than they should be, but it's actually been really great, just having a little bit of time with them, with the eclipse on Monday, having school canceled for my daughter, and then she had a PD day on Wednesday, and then my son was home as well from the rash, so I had to take him to the doctor kind of thing, and I actually had my niece over for a couple hours as well, so it's been great. And also the weather's been getting warmer, so it's been kind of nice to go out and enjoy the sun. It's not negative temperatures or anything like that we tend to see in the spring in Canada, so definitely enjoying the sun, and hopefully we'll continue with that weather and continue enjoying the sun in the afternoons and things like that. But yeah, that's it for me, and we'll see you for Friday. Oh hey, it's Friday afternoon, just wrapping up the week, and what a week it's been on the charts. A lot of great lessons and some good PA to work with. Seeing a lot of US dollar strength in the market, basically just watching Euro US dollar and Pound US dollar melt for the entire week. Was able to capitalize on 2 really good trades. Was patient, focused, and willing to capitalize on the momentum that we've seen in the market. I was able to remain patient and methodical in terms of how I took those trades. Was able to walk away 6R for the week over 2 trades within probably 30 minutes of actual trading. It's always a good feeling to be on and off the charts relatively quickly, to move on to other things. As I alluded to, my kids were home a little bit more this week as they had just days off of school and stuff like that, so I was able to spend some time with them, which is really great. And it's one of those things when it comes to trading, that's the freedom that we're looking for. Ultimately that's how I feel incredibly wealthy, being able to spend time with my kids and, be present in the moments with them. So by being able to spend less time on the charts and by being able to be present in their lives and not be spending time just staring at each 1 minute candle trickling by, it's really just been a great experience overall. Today on the charts, there really wasn't anything for me that I wanted to take or that I was interested in taking, so I just kind of sat on my hands. Yes, the market did continue to drop, making the low of the week very much today, Friday, for both pound US dollar and euro US dollar, but at the end of the day, I made 2 really good trades this week, made what I was kind of looking for in terms of profit, and didn't feel like needing to push anything. And I think in a lot of cases, that's what separates, gamblers from true traders. When you hit your profit targets and you've done well for the week, some people will continue to push their profits and basically lose everything that they made for the entire week, ending the week either flat or worse in drawdown. So for me, once I've locked in enough gains that I'm happy with, I'm totally okay with saying, what, Friday is going to be more of a chill day. I can focus on doing other things. I can just review my week, look at the charts and just see how could I have done better. Were there more opportunities I could have capitalized in? Am I willing to put more risk in the market, so to speak, by being in more trades? From a Phantom perspective, it gives me more time to provide support, plan for new bits of content, things like that. So it just opens me up to a lot more flexibility in the things that I'm doing, which I think is the most important thing. So not much to be said for Friday. One of the things about the first episode of this YouTube channel was the video was extraordinarily long. I never intended it to be nearly 50 minutes or whatever it ended up being. So this week definitely tried to compact things and try not to talk as much. So definitely this video should be shorter than the previous one. Hopefully it's packed with even more value than even the first one, and we just continue to get better and better as time goes on. One thing that's key in trading that not a lot of people talk about are managing proper expectations for your trading. A lot of people fall prey to the Lambo lifestyle, the expensive watches, and get lost in the veil that social media tends to create and associate with trading. Now, of course, all of these things can be possible with successful trading. For a lot of people, that's what allures them to trading, and they end up pursuing a career or a hobby or a venture that they actually don't have any interest in. They're just totally stuck on the end goal or the idea of what the outcome could be with successful trading. Now, if you actually are looking at potentially turning trading into a fruitful and long-term career, having proper expectations is what's going to set you aside and really contribute to the longevity that you'll have as a trader. And what I mean by that is when you approach trading, you shouldn't be approaching trading that you're going to be making tens of thousands of dollars a day and just be absolutely smashing the markets. Of course, when you scale up your assets under management and you are trading large sizable capital, yes, of course, making tens of thousands of dollars is possible. But in the early days, especially when you're first starting out in trading, chances are you're really not going to be making a whole lot of money. In fact, you're probably going to be losing money and potentially blowing accounts if you're not adhering to risk management policies, if you're not trading a strategy consistently, all those sorts of things. First and foremost, it's imperative that you foster a good risk management approach, follow a strategy or learn a strategy and consistently apply it and try not to switch what you're doing. But when we factor in the expectation side of things, we can go a little bit deeper. If you look at the average salary of a particular job of most people, on average, most people are making anywhere from $200 to maybe $500 a day, as their take-home pay. Now, if you kind of factor that into trading, say you're making $200 a day just for simple math, and every trade that you're trying to take, you're trying to make $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per trade. Say you're trading a $1,000 account, funded, what have you, where 1% is $1,000. So, in essence, you are trying to target anywhere from 1 to 5% per trade. Now, when you look at that, you go, yeah, that's really great income. For many people, an additional $1,000 to $5,000 per month is going to be incredibly beneficial and arguably could change your life. The problem is most of us approach trading expecting to be making that every day when we're commonly used to making something like, say, $200 a day working our job. Now, the difference is when you are showing up to a job every single day, in essence, you're getting paid regardless of your perceived output. Whereas with trading, you can put absolute hours in and not be guaranteed that $200. So of course, there's an element where you need to make a little bit more to account for that difference. But the problem is, and especially with prop accounts and things like that, and where the industry currently is the mentality of what you can make in trading has been skewed so much that people are forever chasing those 6-figure months, things like that. And when you start trading and you think that right off the bat you're going to be trading large amounts of capital and making large amounts of profit, it's going to be very difficult. Yes, of course, with the prop firm space, getting capital has never been easier for a trader, but the emotional and psychological issues that arise with trading large capital when you're not even used to trading with small capital can be enough to just cause people to crash and burn. And we see it, unfortunately, all the time. Now, what we can do as traders is approach trading with proper expectations where we expect or we reasonably look to make that $200 to $500 a day in trading, provided our edge allows us to do that. That way we are slowly over time creating gains in our account, slowly allowing compounding to do its thing, but we're keeping trading manageable and we're not swinging for the fences every time. An analogy that you can think about is in baseball, more often than not, what consistently gets team points via runs is getting base hits, getting people on bases, and eventually cycling through and getting someone, to hit home plate. Whereas, most people would be like, of course we want to get a home run, shoot it, hit it out of the park, and, that's great. But more often than not, what wins baseball games is getting those base hits consistently, getting each man on base, going to first, second, third, and eventually home. And the more people you get on bases and keep cycling through, the more perceived runs that you're able to potentially get over time. In trading, we should be focusing on those base hits, making those $200 to $500 per trade, incrementally growing our profits as time goes on. It's going to make such more sustainable trading instead of just trying to swing for the fences, trying to make $5,000, $10,000 in a week. Whereas if you're slowly building up the account, you'll have the confidence that comes with slowly building your account, all the winning trades that come with, hitting those trades consistently. And at the end of the day, it's going to make your trading process a much more enjoyable experience, and you're rooting it in long-term expectations instead of a get-rich-quick mentality. One thing I like to talk about quite often is not striving to make more percentage each day, each week, each month, each quarter, or things like that, but instead change your mindset to increasing the capital that you have under management. Because then if you're consistently able to make 5 or 10% per month, and if you're doing that 5%, for example, on a $10,000 account, moving up to a $50,000 account, moving up to a $100,000 account, 200, 400, 500, a million, so on and so forth. You do the math, you're able to make the same amount of percentage, which means you don't need to trade anymore or expect any more from the market. But as your assets under management increase, you are also able to increase what you're earning from the market in a sustainable long-term manner. But at the end of the day, it starts with managing your expectations properly and taking those small base hits and building that level of consistency. Again, I want to thank you for tuning into the channel, sticking with me as I went through this week. This week was definitely a lot more exciting than last week. Last week was a lot more me just talking and just kind of establishing the channel, getting comfortable behind the camera, things like that. Obviously, I think I'm starting to get my camera angle right, my lighting, microphone, hopefully this sounds good. The one thing I still have to work on is my computer sound, because you can probably hear that. But, we'll just keep improving what we're doing here, and we'll keep posting videos showing the, behind the scenes, so to speak, of my life. And, we'll see what we get up to.